right, thank you very much. All right, you did great. Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. As always, it's a great day to be in the Tar Heel State. And it's a great day to be a top scholar. Am I right about that? Oh, I'm not feeling you. It's a great day to be a top scholar. Yeah, absolutely. Deputy or Assistant Superintendent Huff, thank you for that very kind introduction. Needless to say, I have discovered that an applause before I speak is an act of faith. And applause during my speech is an act of hope. And applause at the end of my speech is an act of charity. Let the record reflect, I do accept charity. You know, whenever my father enters a room, he always asks the same question. But if I don't say this first, I'll be in trouble. So let me just acknowledge my best friend, my soulmate, my wife, Irma, who's with me today. Thank you, dear, for being a part of this event. Yeah, give her a round of applause. I can always use those brownie points. So whenever my father enters a room, he always asks the same question. Is everybody happy? And I think that's a very fitting question. You see, if you really think about it, I am convinced that each of you can think of a reason to smile this evening. You can smile if your iPhone or Android device works. You can smile if you're still using your parents as a human ATM machine. You can smile if you know that someone loves you dearly. And when you get my age, you can smile if every time you go upstairs in your home, you can remember why you went upstairs. And when you get my age, you can smile if you're regular. And most of you didn't figure that one out, but you'll get it before it's all over, I know. So I ask, is everybody happy? Absolutely. It is a great day to be here. I am delighted to be a part of this organization. Now, I need someone, one of the young people here, to help me out. Is there someone here with a watch? And I know most in your generation don't wear a watch. In fact, I don't wear one either. But some young person, some scholar that has a watch, I need your help. Please stand and be recognized because I have a mission for you. All right. Hey! Someone twisted your arm, I know. So, what is your name? Nolan. Nolan? Everybody say hello to Nolan. Nolan, in exactly 20 minutes, no matter where I am in my speech, in 20 minutes, you're going to stand, and you're going to say, thank you, General, for your general remarks, but you're generally out of time. Can you say that? Yes, sir. Thank you, General, for your general remarks, but you're generally out of time. All right. All right, please do. You know, research shows that during the course of a short speech, only 5% of the audience will recall the majority of the key points. 12% will recall maybe half of the key points. 28% will recall one or two of the key points. And the remaining 55% of the audience will tune the speaker out completely and indulge in romantic fantasies. Let me just tell you, it's encouraging to know that the majority of you all will enjoy yourselves over the next 20 minutes regardless of what I say. And if I see you smiling, and I haven't said anything humorous, I will know that we all will know that you're in your happy place. You know, as I was preparing my speech, memories flooded back over a period that my wife Irma and I were raising our daughter. You know, I was coming home from work. In fact, I was working in New York at the Council on Foreign Relations. But I came home one evening. She was in the second grade. And she was in the yard with her dog, Buster. So I walked up, I said, hey, Snoops, what are you doing? She said, Dad, I'm brushing Buster's teeth. I said, well, that's nice. She paused for a second and she said, Dad, don't worry. I'll put your toothbrush back like I always do. I was speechless. One more. See, I'm not the only one that was on the blame line. I have to get my wife up on this one as well. So Christy came back from from school. And she said, Mom, can I start taking my bath before I go to school as opposed to before I go to bed? And Aaron said, well, what's the difference? Christina said, every day the teacher says, everybody who took a bath today, please stand. And I haven't been able to stand one day since school started for the last 3 months. Blame her. We baby boomers and the generations behind us know that it's time to step back, or at least share the generational spectrum with those of you who represent the first wave of a new generation of students from age 16 to 19, Generation Z. Those of you who are not familiar with Generation Z, those are the folks who were born from the mid-1995 or 1995 thereabouts to the early 2000s. And I know you're thinking, all of you are saying, well, wait a second. What did they do, run out of alphabets and decide to give us the last letter? Well, no, not so much. When I was your age, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to kind of prepare myself for the opportunities I hoped would come my way. And although my parents weren't college graduates and they didn't have the money to send us to college, there was an expectation that I would go to college. And I didn't know it at the time, but even from a young tot, I had started preparing myself for those opportunities. At times, I would tell you that the path that you're on will be difficult, boring, discouraging, and oftentimes not well marked. But if you take each step as best you can and keep on walking, you will ultimately reach high ground, and you will be prepared for those opportunities that I know will come your way. This concept of being prepared and ready didn't just start this century. In fact, William Shakespeare in the 1600s had some thoughts on the topic. In his play Hamlet, Act 5, Scene 2, Hamlet is having a conversation with Horatio. And Hamlet said, there's a special providence in the fall of a sparrow. If it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come, the readiness is all. Now, for those of you who are not Shakespeare scholars, and for those of you who didn't pay attention in the literature class, let me translate that for you. You see, what Hamlet was telling Horatio is that everything will work out as it is destined. If it is supposed to happen now, it will. If it is supposed to happen later, it will not happen now. What is important is to be prepared. The operative words are readiness and prepared. You want to be ready and prepared for those opportunities that will definitely come your way. Needless to say, I've had some pretty cool opportunities and quite a few challenges along the way. I have often been asked, what prepared you for those opportunities? I was here in the county doing my duties as the Federal Preparedness Coordinator for the Southeast region of the United States, and that's when I met Dr. Porter. And he asked me these questions. I didn't realize he had researched my background, but he said, Q, what prepared you to become a general in the military, a senior fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations in New York City, the lead negotiator in North Korea and Burma, the Army's rep as the owner of our NASCAR, and that was a pretty cool job, no training required, a certified mediator and registered neutral with the Georgia Superior Court, a Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense, and a presidential appointee. He went on to say, what prepared you to face an enemy that was bent on killing you? Carry the key that would allow the president to launch our nukes. For those of you who watched all those cool movies, the president has the football, but I had the key that would have allowed him to do that. Be in charge of the National Military Command Center in the Pentagon on 9/11. I will never forget that long, long day that looked like it never ended. Recruit, train, commission 80% of the Army's officers each year represent the president in the southeast region of the United States doing presidential disaster declarations. I thought about that long and hard. So here are a few thoughts that helped me and may help you prepare yourselves for the opportunities that, again, I am certain will come your way. 1, don't be quick to judge. Don't be quick to judge. Patience, tolerance, acceptance, and understanding are necessary virtues of life. Keep in mind that you could always be on the receiving end of that judgment that you're dishing out. A few years ago, I was asked to speak at an elementary school, and I had to walk through the playground to get to the office. And as I was walking, I noticed one of the young kids, children, I guess they don't want to be called kids today, was making scary faces, making faces at the other kids. So I stopped and decided to offer a little corrective criticism. I said, when I was your age, my mom told me if I made scary faces, my face would stay that way. The young fellow looked up at me and he said, well, you can't say you weren't warned. Sometimes it's pretty challenging to love the little people, but I didn't judge. 2, don't become a reactionary victim of life's happenings. Don't become a reactionary victim of life's happenings. Sitting back, twiddling your thumbs, waiting for life to do for you, or worse yet, complaining about what it hasn't done for you will keep you right where you are. Take charge of your life, set goals, and act. As a high school teacher and coach for a couple of years, fresh out of college, I had some goals. I wanted to be, although I knew I weren't going to be there very long, I wanted to be the teacher of the year. I remember it very clearly. One of my first days on the job, I was in front of one of the classes, and I wanted to try to use a little psychology on them. So I stood in front of the class and I asked, how many of you all want to be stupid? If you want to be stupid, stand. You couldn't hear a pin drop for a while. Finally, one of the young men stood up. So I said, John, do you really want to be stupid? He said, no, Coach. I just didn't want you standing up there all by yourself. Best 2 years of my life. And Brian, I was named Teacher of the Year the second year. Congratulations to you as well. 3, dare to dream. Dare to dream. Imagining life beyond your current circumstances does not imply that you're being impractical. On the contrary, our hopes and dreams fuel our daily desire to reach higher, and work harder. Without them, we perish. I was convinced that if I worked harder and practiced longer, I would be able to beat the next fella, the next guy. It paid off. It worked. I became a scholar athlete, and as was alluded in my introduction, an all-state high school wrestler, and also a small college All-American. Now, there are a lot of failures there because I kind of didn't do so well in the other sports. I guess I found my niche. Now, you might not believe it now, but when I graduated from high school, I was 125 pounds and 5'7". That's what happens to you if you diet when you should be growing for sports. There's a lesson there somewhere. So now let me tell you that right up front, that many of my dreams did not come to fruition. I did not realize them. Years ago, I was in the hospital recovering from knee surgery. That's another downside of being an old athlete. My wife, Irma, was there by my bedside. And I said, dear, you know, You've been with me through the most difficult and challenging times of my life. When I was in that horrific car accident, you were there. When I lost my shirt in a bad investment, you were there. When I didn't get the job that I thought I was very qualified for, you were there. I grabbed her hand and I said, "You know, dear, I'm convinced that you're just bad luck." I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that after that conversation, they had to extend my hospital stay. 4, listen more, speak less, seek to learn always, and go after every task with every bit of energy and enthusiasm you can muster. Listen more, speak less, seek to learn, and always go after every task with every bit of energy and enthusiasm you can muster. It's hard to learn when you're talking all the time. It's also difficult when you're caged in by negativity. I encourage you to surround yourself with positive people, people who believe that there is an end to the tunnel when you can't see the light. And I would tell you that when I couldn't see the light, I worked that much harder. I'm sure that it was my energy and enthusiasm that caused me to succeed in becoming the honor grad in 4 different schools. In Ranger School, in Airborne School, in Air Assault School, and in French Commando School. All of this required a major time commitment. I would always bring home my office work. And some of you do that now. It became the norm. So one day, little Christina said, "Dad, why do you do that?" I explained to her that there was so much work to do that I couldn't get it all done during the day. Christian looked at me and she said, "Dad, why don't they put you in the slow group?" That's probably where I needed to be. 5, keep your priorities in order. Strive to be a productive member of our society. You may not be able to save everybody, but work to save yourself. As I was growing up, I had to learn 3 different language styles. First, I had to learn the current street slang that I used with my friends. I had to learn the African American English that I used around my family. And third was mainstream English that I knew I would need in order to be successful in America. You could say I was multilingual. You've heard it before. Most of us spend too much time on what is urgent and not enough time on what is important. Imagine this. You got to use your mind here. A triangle. And on the corners, you have good grades, social life, enough sleep. Choose 2. This is a drill in priorities. Let me say that again. Triangle, good grades, social life, enough sleep. Choose 2. Ponder that for a second. Not so easy, is it? 6, have a sense of humor. There will be times when you will not know whether you should cry or laugh. I choose to laugh. I think I've made the case. Life is complex. I challenge you to make life as fun and pleasant as you can possibly be in adversity. I'm convinced that you must have a sense of humor in order to carry through and lighten the burden of mental stress you will face. If not, life will drown you in self-pity and bitterness. Humor has gotten me through some of the toughest scrapes that I've been in. I think it's instructive at this time to mention one of my greatest failures. I'm a workaholic. I've loved all of my jobs. I've always planned to slow down, but I never have. Before I knew it, Christina had grown up and left home. I had missed opportunities to spend more quality family time with my wife and daughter. Please strive to keep a good work-life balance. I push that now in my current capacity with my team and my people. I now believe that it is better to have less and enjoy more. Remember, achieving and achievements is fleeting, but relationships are what life is all about. It makes it meaningful, rewarding, and enjoyable. I encourage you to learn to work to live and not live to work. By choosing to apportion your time wisely. In my experience, the greatest joy you can know is one you are all familiar with, one that got you where you are tonight. Accomplishment. The joy of completing a job well done. The joy, and this joy can be boundless when you make full use of your minds, of your talents, and your time. An author once said, you should start to worry when you start sounding like everyone else you know. My mom taught me that anything worth doing is worth doing well. I caution you to avoid allowing pride and ego to become your Achilles heel. Pride will prevent you from admitting three things. I made a mistake. I don't know. I need help. Let me repeat those three. I made a mistake. I don't know. I need help. My philosophy has always been, I bring no ego, therefore there will never be any drama. One last memory of our daughter Christina growing up. One evening, she's a teenager now, she invited her boyfriend over. The next morning...
Thank you, General, for your general remarks.
Sure, come on. So, you might not know this, but there's a tradition in the military. This is a corn of excellence. It's pretty cool. That's the presidential crest. There's my SES flag on there, my two-star flag, and all that. It says corn of excellence. Mm-hmm. We don't give these out to many people. And rumor has it that they're on eBay now, and they're worth about $100. So I'm going to give you this for a job well done.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
There is no doubt in my mind that when I go to sit on the porch, we're in good hands. I'm going to finish this story in a minute. I drove too far not to finish this story, I got to tell you. So the young man, this next morning, with a very stern voice, I said, Christina, your boyfriend stayed over pretty late last night. She said, Dad, did the noise bother you? I said, no, but the long periods of silence did. To be successful, I encourage you to consider the advice given by three men separated by hundreds of years, a Greek, a Roman, and a Jew. So the Greek Socrates said, know thyself. The Roman Cicero said, control thyself. And the Jew, Jesus said, give thyself. Know thyself, control thyself, give thyself. I can't think of better advice for you to be successful. To our scholars, congratulations. You are the best of your generation. You carry the hopes and aspirations of everybody here tonight. And you shoulder the weight of excellence set forth for you. Shoulder it well. Make us proud. God bless you. God bless America.